Hey, everybody. Welcome to the $1 Billion Banker podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Perrone. Thanks for joining us today. We're so excited to have Mckenna Tirella with us of Asbury Park City Lifestyle. Thanks for coming today.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm so delighted to be here.
Yeah, so are we. So we were just talking about how we met at the Jersey Shore Chamber event at the Business Expo.
Yeah, at the Berkeley Hotel back in April, I think.
Yeah,
around that time.
It was lovely meeting you there. Yeah. And I was really intrigued by your business and this Asbury Park City Lifestyle magazine and all you've done so far. I've kind of watched your journey over the last few months. It's going quick and you're growing tremendously. So it's exciting to see that. I was telling you that I've lived in Asbury Park. I love the community, and I know we both have a strong connection to it.
Yeah,
and I love the way you describe it. But would love to have our listeners learn more about your magazine, more about you, and who you are and how you got here today. Can you tell us about your background?
Yeah, cool. Thanks, Nicole. So I'm Northern Irish originally. I've lived and worked here since 2006. I was in New York, and I'm part of that great 2020 migration. So we finally landed in New Jersey, and we love it here. And as soon as I kind of arrived, I'm Irish, and the poor Jersey Shore and Jersey in general gets such a bad rep, right? And I visit often because my father-in-law lives here, but it's just so funny to me. And I fell in love. I love the Jersey Shore. I think it is absolutely spectacularly special. And the city's right there. So you don't have to worry about it. You can go if you need to. Don't go because you don't want to anymore.
You got the best of both worlds.
You do really have the best of both worlds. And my background is I came from a casting background, actually. So I'm very familiar with this type of a setup.
You seem very comfortable here. So
yeah. And I had been, I'd kind of climbed the ladder completely in the city. I was working on Broadway projects, big national tours, TV, film, etc. And just before the pandemic, I kind of saw the tide turn on technology in casting in particular. And I said, okay, great. Where do I go next? Right. I think you and I are very similar in that way. I think that's why we kind of were like, we're of the same breed.
Yeah, we're going to figure something out.
Yes, exactly. So I moved to Backstage, which is the biggest acting magazine in the world. It's now online prominently. And I did business development there and realized I loved media, and I really kind of loved making my own content, which I had the opportunity to do at Backstage as well. And then when we were here, I thought, okay, great. How do I do what I do best, which is, celebrate and champion people. It was actors at one stage. But now it's small businesses. How do I help them tell their story better?
Yes.
And I did research. I was doing a master's in journalism, but I didn't want to move from one career to another that's a little journalism is so important, but not very well paying. Sorry, journalists.
So sorry to the journalists.
Right.
That's it.
So I know, very sorry to the journalists because it's an incredibly important job.
Yeah.
So how do we keep it light, tell great stories locally, celebrate the Jersey Shore that I'm now in love with, and City Lifestyle was the perfect blend of all that stuff and all the talents I have.
That's great. Yeah, no, and what a background. I'm learning more about you as we sit here today, and it's interesting how you segued from more of the production side and the casting side to this side. It all comes together, right? And I think we were talking about American Dream TV, and my goal as a host there is to really do something very similar. And so I love the coordination efforts that we could put together and to help you continue to promote what you're doing in Asbury Park, a city we love. I like how you call it the East Village of
before we
Jersey
started,
Shore.
That's kind of how I described it to you, because that's how I see it. Like of course, there was white space. There wasn't a magazine here already that particularly looks and feels like what I'm doing. It's a different vibe to the other publications that are currently out there that I love and read, right? I love the Coaster. I love the Tri-City News. I love industry. But we can celebrate another piece of kind of print media too, which is beautiful features, which is what I do on local businesses. Yeah,
it does. As you say that, it does seem like a bit of a empty space, because it is filling a bit of a gap. And I want our viewers to learn more about what the magazine is. And can you tell us about the overall marketing strategy and some of the advertisers are in the magazine?
Yeah, great. So City Lifestyle is a franchise. So there's over 200 nationwide. So that's part of the reason I decided to invest in it and, kind of make that my home base. So we have a lot of support and market research because it's been in business 15 years. And there's, it's just been a really great ride in that sense. So that's why I picked the City Lifestyle branding. I love the look and feel of it before I even became involved. Yeah. But advertisers, everyone from, JBJ Soul, which was in my July issue. I have Estates by Valario, who does beautiful luxury estates. I have beauty spas like Beautiful that's in Wall there.
Oh, yeah.
I've got Endless Waves in Asbury Park. There's a really great mix of folks. And really, when I meet with people, I have a chat about what their business needs locally and figure out if it would be a valuable fit for both of us, and how I can use my pages because, I have editorial that I can celebrate. It's more than advertising.
Sure.
So, there's the editorial, there's rotating pages that I have. And it's, kind of figuring out if what I'm bringing to the table would really kind of dovetail well with some of the other tactics they have with their marketing. So, and then I have obviously the backing of what City Lifestyle has been doing for other brands over our 200 magazines nationwide, which is super helpful.
Sure. And so, as you were talking, I was just thinking this magazine's not just for businesses or professionals that are in Asbury Park, but it's people that want to market to the Asbury Park community, right?
Correct. And my zip codes, because these franchises, you buy a little zip code. It's actually 07712 and 07753. So that's Ocean, that's Interlaken, that's Manawasa, that's Shark River Hills, it's Wall, it's Tinton Falls. So I'm hitting quite a large area. Yeah. It's under the Asbury Park City Lifestyle banner. And, when someone gets it and they're sitting in Shark River Hills or what have you, I know that they still feel really akin to this whole area because we're celebrating it just like, Tri-City or coaster. You don't have to be right on the coast to enjoy the coaster. You don't have to be in a Tri-City to enjoy the Tri-City.
Absolutely.
So that's the demographic that I reach.
Okay.
And then the other differentiator that City Lifestyle does that others don't is that we go into more affluent homes, so higher net worth value folks. And for people that are marketing hyper locally, it just makes a lot of sense for them to know that someone in that home is going to be able to afford their services. Yeah. So because we're designed to be, and we are, a luxury feel magazine, right? We're luxe. So that's kind of part of what we're doing.
Yeah. Tell us more about just the overall marketing strategy, because I think that's an important part of it. When we think about where it's going and how you guys have targeted that. Obviously the zip codes, we kind of have an idea now, but is this magazine mailed out? Is it sitting at retailers?
Yeah, a combination of both. So we directly mail into those homes that are over $750,000 and above in value. Okay. They go directly into the home every month. And so it's a direct mailer in that way. And then I also drop into 500 local businesses, spas, doctor's offices, waiting rooms, that type of thing, so that there's a really nice peppering in and around Asbury.
So everyone's probably starting to see this magazine much more.
Correct.
You're probably getting a lot of that feedback.
I am. Yeah, it's been really great. And then in the hotels in Asbury also. So the tourists that are coming to town.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
So when you think about, the typical advertiser in a magazine or some of maybe the success that they've had, could you share with our audience what that looks like for people thinking about, maybe I should advertise?
Yeah. So the benefits of hyperlocal advertising is you know exactly where you're going, right? I can tell you the homes. I can show you the mailing route if you really want, right? So you're going to know exactly where you're going to. Yes. You're hitting, over 7,000 homes, 500 businesses, plus the drop we're doing in Asbury. Yeah, so it's huge. It's around 60,000 people are reading a month, which is really great. They're local. And then it's digital too. So you get to repurpose that magazine and use it and celebrate it and say, hey, I'm part of this community and I'm so proud of it. And here is the magazine that I'm in and I support, right? Yeah. So there's just, it has really lovely kind of tentacles, if you will, right? Yes. It can spread out really lovely. And then I've been finding that my clients, I've only we launched in June. So I've had June and July out. August is dropping in a few weeks. I told you I just got my first copies, and we'll start distributing it around to the hotels that I work with in particular, because I leave those personally to, you know, the managers and stuff. Yes. So you'll almost see August.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Yeah, thank you. But what I was excited that even with June and July, the amount of phone calls people started getting, right? You know, I have a back page, my design architect called me and said, "Hey, I got 2 big leads from Interlaken, and I'm following up with them, and it's from the ad."
That's
and
lovely.
I was like, "Great, because that pays for the whole year, right? You know, that's all you need."
When you think about and I love hearing those stories, because obviously one of the things you need to do is, you're so immersed in the community as well. We've just talked for a few minutes about a couple people we know in common very quickly. I'm sure there's many more, but when you think about demonstrating the value of print advertising to potential advertisers, can you tell us about just why magazines still really resonate with people? And I know you blend. There's this whole digital part of this too, which I want to hear about as well. So tell us more about that.
Yeah, sure. So that is one of the main questions. So I'm so glad you brought it up, which is, are people really reading it? Now, you and I know we're reading it, right? And, you know, you just shared a success story where your sister was in a local magazine in Brielle, and people are stopping you in the gym, right? So, and you don't know when that business is going to come to you, but you're building your brand in the local area is so valuable all by itself, right? Yes. So again, that's part of the strategy here. I sit down with businesses and figure out, what's your goal? Like, what do you need here? You know, is it that it's all ROI based on, you know, sales at the end of the day, which of course for all of us it is, but also building your brand and you know, having more collateral that you can use month after month and consistently going into these homes, so valuable, right?
Oh, yeah.
But kind of back to your question, which I'm blanking on now, so
sorry. The digital side of it as well, I'm curious about, like, you know, we were talking about before, like statistics about about magazines in general.
Exactly.
Yeah, I would love to hear about that.
Yeah, perfect. Thank you for refocusing me.
Of course.
So it's a challenge, as I said. People kind of want to know, are people reading it? Are they consuming it? Totally fair question, right? Yes. But there's a lot of stats that support the idea that, you know, we trust our eyes and what we see physically in front of us much more than we trust digitally what we're looking at, right? It's like it's an 80% to 20% trust rate when you're looking at things in print. And part of, you know, if you are looking to position yourself branding wise as a luxury product of some description or a high-end product of some description, print makes sense for you because people want to have it in their hands. They trust what they're seeing. There's also, you know, stats on open rates for emails. You know, your email list is so important. You absolutely have to build it. You've got to, you know, it's such a challenge now in business, right? You've got to have your social media, but you don't own social media, and you know that, right? Meta can turn off the taps at any point. So you've got to build your email list.
Yes.
But you know, the emails are overwhelmed, right? So you're only getting you're getting less kind of open rate than you used to. And so it's really great to kind of dovetail everything with a hyper-local advertising aspect to it.
That's great. Yeah, I was doing a little research too, and I saw something that said magazines have not only more trust, but a higher engagement rate. So the readers spend an average of 43 minutes per issue. That's massive.
Right. Well, it's about meerkatting, it's called, right? So like normally people, when they're on social media, they're distracted doing something else, right?
That's a good point.
It's for the dopamine hit.
Yeah. You're just clicking 800. If you looked at my computer, there's like 800 windows open, unfortunately. I'm like one of those people. It's like it's a mess.
Right. Well, it's all of us, right? It's the world we live in. You know, I'm not saying, hey, you don't need to do anything in digital. That would be silly.
Yes.
What I'm saying is that you get more valuable time. You know, you do get full concentration or better concentration with paper.
With paper, yeah.
Yeah.
And so can you talk to us about just some of the people that are in the magazine today and maybe give us a sneak peek on the August issue? Is there anything new and exciting coming?
Yeah. So August is pets. and kids.
Okay.
So we're doing a lot in the Asbury and Ocean area about all the, like, we call it Yappy Hour, like all the kind of amazing things you can do with your pets, all the great services that are there. Like, there's obviously a lot of grooming services, dog walkers, the places you can, even just a quick list of the places you can go with your pet in Asbury, right? Because you don't always kind of know that. So that's the type of thing we're doing for August. Super excited. And we're just finishing content for September. Of course, See Here Now is a big aspect.
Yes.
So
when is that? When is it? September?
Mid-September. So it's 14th through 16th.
Okay.
In Asbury. It's sold out. Good luck getting a ticket because, of course, it's Bruce this
Bruce
year.
is going to be here.
Which is really exciting. So we do have a musician that I'm not going to announce that will be in the magazine we're interviewing for September, but we're also doing September is Style. So we're highlighting a bunch of local Asbury designers that are living and working in Asbury that are just doing gorgeous, phenomenal work.
Like style, like fashion, or okay, very cool. And so how are you choosing the theme for every month? How are you figuring that out?
City Lifestyle has a whole content calendar for us.
That makes it easy for you.
It does make it easy, but I also want to emphasize, I'm given my theme, but our theme is entirely ours based on the time.
Understood. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's cool. Have you, I love the Yappy Hour, the dog theme, because Asbury is a really pet friendly city, like a little bit more than most. And so there's a lot of dog lovers in town. And and you always, when you pass by the Wonder Bar, you see all the dogs, they're not drinking there, I think, right? But they're having fun with their parents.
Who knows? Hopefully not drinking there.
Hopefully not. So what are some of the goals of the magazine for you? Like, where do you see this in the next few months to a year?
Yeah. So City Lifestyle's overall branding is that they help people with deliver on their God-given gifts, right? That's City Lifestyle's personal or company mantra.
Okay.
And mine is helping people connect with their communities. So, together that's kind of what we're doing.
I like how you have your personal mantra as well. That's nice.
Well, I was listening to a podcast with Barbara Cochran just yesterday, and she was like, your God can't be money, right? Your God has to be your drive and passion for what you're doing. And I really resonate with that. Like, it's most important that my clients in the magazine, my partners, I call them, it truly is a partnership, and it is more than advertising. You can go somewhere else and it's just, not just, but it will be a piece of advertising every week or month wherever you are in print.
Sure.
I want you to get the phone calls, and if you're not, I'm going to be worried about that, and I'm going to want to fix it for you. So, and I'm going to give you coverage. I'm going to change the ad size. I'm going to, I'm going to work with you because my goal overall is to create a beautiful luxury community magazine that we're really proud of in Asbury Park.
Yeah. I'm already feeling proud of it. I think it's and everything I've seen that it's accomplished so far.
Thank you.
Are you are you thinking about any potential changes that are coming in the space of, when you think about, I don't know, just AI and technology, and are you seeing any impacts in your space?
Obviously with print, some people, when I got into this, when I started in my pre-launch, were like, print, and I understand, but we've already kind of outlined some of the stats that support why, why it's doing so well. And then also we do surveys in City Lifestyle with the folks that we send out magazines to nationwide.
Okay.
2 out of 3 are making purchases out of the magazine, and 82% are reading it back to forward every month. And that beats out postcards and like other local news. So we know we're doing really quality.
Like, you're better off.
Quality content matters.
And I love that. But like, instead of an agent putting, you get a lot of postcards from realtors locally, right? I just sold this home.
Right.
Why not put that in a magazine instead?
Well, the magazine stays on the coffee table for longer. So, and I think there are times and places where postcards make sense, but it's when you can have an effective call to action, when you have that 10% that ends in spring, for landscapers, or, you have to be really smart. Actually, I heard, and I don't know if they'll be frustrated that I'm giving away their secret, but I have a great team in my LaTip group in Asbury Park that it's a mortgage advisor and a realtor, and they put together, they do the postcard, and on the back they have the NFL schedule. And I was like, oh, well, that keeps it on it on the fridge.
No, that's
like
good.
you've got to find, if you're going to do postcards, and I think there's a time and a place for postcards, you have to think strategically, how do I get this to stay in the home longer than the visual look and throw?
That's good advice. And so, what I want, you're talking about Le Tip, and I see you're in a lot of organizations. Can you tell us about, what City Lifestyle, what organizations you're supporting locally?
Yeah.
You're part of?
Yeah. So a big part of City Lifestyle, and what I hope to do too, because it's very much in the spirit of Asbury Park. Right. And you're very much with the American Dream TV. Yes. Is giving back to the community as much as possible, right? Because there's a lot, it's a rising tide lifts all boats, but you want to make sure that the good work that's being done in the community. Asbury Park is so phenomenal for the amount of charity work that people do without saying a word. They give back so much. And I know that you did Mercy Center, for example, as one of your pieces. So beautiful. There's, there's so many great people. There's the Big Brother, Big Sisters. There's, Habitat for Humanity. There's the center. There's so many wonderful spaces that have been working hard in Asbury for a long time. So we try to feature them as much as possible.
Oh, that's great.
We'll have go back to my content calendar. We have a Thankful in
November.
So there'll be a big piece on that too.
Oh, that's great.
And
you got to embrace that time of year.
Exactly. So in general, I'm always trying to find ways to work with charities. I'm hoping to do a few sponsored events that aren't fully solid yet, but maybe I'll come back and announce it. And then to finish off your question about kind of technology and how things are changing. Right. I've got my conference for City Lifestyle in September, and I know we've got a big announcement coming, which is kind of reflective of kind of the digital space.
Oh, that's interesting.
Keep an eye out. I think we're going to be doing something really very useful to our clients in the new year.
Yeah, I see you promoting online a lot of your clients and a lot of your involvement in the community, which is great. I saw the other day on Instagram someone that I'm connected with that has their AI twin that's doing their video, right? It's literally not them. It's somehow they give, the AI, bot who it's a picture of them. It's literally looks like them and it's speaking for them. Wow. And they're like, I'm out doing something else while this video's, being done. And it's just wild. So you try to think as far out as you can and see what's to come. But I think that there's never going to be, they're never going to take away that personalization that a local brand and a local community has. I mean, when you advertise in a magazine, these are people that you're going to be seeing when you go to the coffee shop or when you go to a restaurant, and they really do notice you. It's phenomenal. But, when you think about being a business, a lot of people that, they're trying to figure out, like, where do I spend my money? How do I spend my money? Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people sometimes leave marketing off the table because it's difficult, right? It's not always easy to peel away that 20%. But what advice do you have for business owners on how to create and allocate that marketing budget? Like, I almost look at it like a financial plan kind of, right? If you were sitting down with an advisor, they'd say, okay, here's the pie. And here's how we're going to break down your allocation of money. And then here's long-term what kind of a return you might see. But what advice do you have for business owners on how to put together a marketing budget and make space for it?
I mean, I think you need to be very clear about what your goals are with your marketing, right? Obviously, again, I said, yes. Do we want to make $1 million this year? Sure. Right. Nice. More, additional, right? Sure. But, what else is in the package, right? So whoever you decide makes sense for you. If it is a postcard campaign, if it is this, that, or the other, look at the ROI that you had last year. Right. What return, how were you tracking that? That's a huge part. If you think that something wasn't successful, in what way do you have metrics that support that it wasn't successful, right? Yeah. Did you have a QR code on your ad? Did you have, again, what I call it like a CTA, a call to action of maybe a small percentage off or something that really mentioned this ad when you come in, or there's so many ways to be creative with it now.
Now we got to give a promo like code or something for Asbury City Live. If you
right.
see this,
exactly,
use
right?
promo code. I don't know. We'll figure it out before the end. But.
Right. Well, and I have people that are working and they have a code that is unique to me, right? And that's how they're going to know at the end of the year. Okay, we got X amount of leads from this. We got X amount of scans on the QR code, and X amount turned into the ROI of signing up for X or Y or Z, whatever their company does.
Yes.
I also would look at it this way. You should have the 1-year plan, the 5-year plan, and the 10-year plan.
Okay.
And especially if you have a retail space, like I know you're spending a lot of money on that retail space, but you've got it for that time. So how are you going to build your business in that space, right? Because you're going to be, I imagine, in the weeds of it. So how do you get out of it and manage that business, right? How do you start? You need to do some marketing of a type. And I recommend it's really a dovetail, right? You've got a great brand and marketing presence online. That's great. Everyone should be trying to do something beautiful like this, right?
Sure.
It doesn't have to be quite at the scale I think that you're doing at, right? Like you've decided to go kind of a lot of eggs in this basket, which is great. It makes a lot of sense for you.
Right.
But I think it's, does this make sense for, again, a luxury pool builder? No.
Oh, good point.
Right.
And to your point about diversifying too, you have to, you start to think about that, right? Because your audience that you have online is very different. The way that you're going to grow it, there's not people in your backyard. And even if you hire companies that are going to help you increase your followers, because you get spammed with that stuff all the time. Right. There are people that might be all across the country, and but it's the same concept, right? It's like, what's the call to action? Yeah. What do you really want to, other than helping cross promote each other and et cetera, there has to be some kind of monetization strategy, right?
Correct. Yeah. And also, what's your position and branding and thought leadership? Like what are you bringing to the conversation if you're doing kind of a beautiful podcast like this, right? Like that's exciting, but it takes a little bit of planning also. Yes. And so I would say, look at the goals that you want to achieve and look at what you get to take away. For example, that's why I'm looking at, it's editorial plus, right? It's, you're getting advertising, and for the right term, you get editorial and other things that I throw in so that you're more than just, at the end of the day, you walk with marketing collateral. We also have a digital landing page, which is really great for your SEO. It helps boost you in this area. So
that's great.
There's a few different plays here that again makes it more than advertising.
Yeah, no, that's amazing. Yeah. We spoke briefly about editorial content and the balance between the two. Could you tell the audience a little bit about how you select the balance between the editorials and the advertising? Yeah, so it's not all pay for play. That would be the wrong idea if someone kind of takes away that from today. It's authentic stories about Asbury. Okay. I have a journalism background. I'm never. It's never going to be an expose. No politics. Right. Zero politics in this magazine. Okay. Full stop. It's a family friendly piece of material. Yes. So we look to be family friendly. That's the other aspect of this. So nothing too rock and roll. But so editorial wise, we have a calendar that helps guide the themes of each month. And then it's finding great stories within those themes that suit Asbury and Ocean and Shark River Hills. Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Is there anything that you're excited about in Asbury Park that you've learned about recently, or that's new to the community?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many already. There's such a great dining, food, food and beverage scene, but there's so many great. There's a new sushi place that's opening up, Hadaka. There's New Hour Clothing is just opening, so a new bespoke men's clothing place is open. I didn't even know there was
a new sushi place opening.
It's not opened yet. Okay. It'll be on Bangs. It's just about to open in the next few months. I'm so excited for it.
Oh, that's great. Can you believe there's only been like one right now, right?
I know, right? And it's also, I think the concept is different. It's a smaller space. It'll be very intimate. Okay. That's part of the reason why I really felt there was opportunity for this magazine here. There's so many new things happening in Asbury all the time. Yeah. There's a great big development, Surfside that's coming in. Yes. Things are, it's exciting. Yeah. It's really, really exciting.
And we were talking about Lorianne Sorrentino a little bit.
Yes,
And
with
Roger
Rhythm.
Mumford's The Rhythm.
Yeah,
right.
Which I think is sold out, but they're just finishing the last condos, I think.
Yes. Oh yeah, it's amazing. They'll actually, I'm excited to learn a lot more about them. They'll be on the next episode of American Dream TV, so we're excited to have them. And Roger Mumford just has some incredible homes that he builds across Monmouth County.
They're beautiful.
Yeah,
they're beautiful.
So this is, when you think about the development, there's so many new people coming into the town. That's got to be exciting for the magazine, right?
Yeah, and I'm excited to see. There's a lot of conversation about what's going to happen with Convention Hall, but nothing's fully settled. I'm excited to see kind of what happens with the amphitheater that's being built, because next year they'll replace the summer stage that's in the car park of Stone Pony with reopening the amphitheater. So there's lots of things.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it's really exciting.
Yeah, that is exciting.
Yeah.
That's great. So where do you have some favorite places you like to go in Asbury Park, or some favorite places you like to leave your magazine?
Yeah. I joke that I use the Asbury Hotel, the lobby area, as my WeWork.
Okay. Oh, I love that.
It's so chill.
You
can take a grit meeting from there.
Yeah. No, it's true.
I love there's a green tea that I particularly like there. Okay. So I'm always there. So if they
have like the couches, the little U-shaped couch section.
Got all different little seating spaces, Nicole, you can pick. Yeah. So I'm always there. You'll probably see me quite a bit.
That's cool.
There. Sitting and working.
Certain places give you a little bit of inspiration, right? When you're, especially when you're more in the creative type of a role and position. Like, do you draw some inspiration when you're, depending on where you work and what environment you're in?
Well, I find Asbury to be really inspirational. I love, again, part of the reason I'm excited for September be doing something about the local designers. Art is the art is amazing in Asbury, right? I was at a conversation with Danny Clinch, the photographer, last week. He had that pop-up in Red Bank. It was absolutely gorgeous. And I just love to listen to other people, and I find that deeply inspiring. And then I love podcasts like yours. Emma Luz has a great podcast called Confession of a CEO. They've got Turnkey Women have a really great podcast. They're all local, and they're talking to local people about their stories and how they got launched, and I love that.
Yeah, no, and I saw Danny Clinch just opened up in Red Bank. Is that what the pop-up was for?
Yes,
was it in the
yeah, it was in what used to be Sickles.
Yes, okay. Yeah. I was just there. I go to Lambs and Wolves to get my hair cut with Linda. Shout out to Linda, who's, and congratulations, she's pregnant. So I don't know how I'm gonna get my hair cut anymore, but we're gonna figure it out.
You're gonna go right the highs in between naps.
We might have to cancel the podcast until Linda comes back from maternity leave. But no, it's really exciting to have you here today. Is there anything that you want to share with the listeners that maybe we didn't cover?
Oh, I think I've just enjoyed chatting.
Yeah, same here.
I don't know if I've made any sense, but
no, you absolutely have.
Yeah, yep. No, I'm excited for people to pick up the magazine and take a look. I'd love to build the book. Obviously, I'm building, adding clients to the book at the minute.
How can we get in touch with you then? I think that's a great question.
Yeah. So, citylifestyle.com/Asbury Park is where you can, get on my calendar to have a quick chat.
Awesome.
And yeah, I love just meeting people regardless of whether they're ready to make a marketing commitment with me yet. Again, it's just, there's so many wonderful stories in Asbury, and I like to get to know all of them.
Yeah. And, it's one of those things where, and we're going to have all of Christine's information here below in the description section, so you can email, reach out, call her, follow her on social, and check out what the magazine's doing. But also, this podcast is about stories like yours. I mean, you came here, you switched careers, right? You're in a how long did you live in Ireland for?
Oh, my whole life.
Your whole life.
I moved in my 20s. Yeah.
So, it's just
I'm older
exciting.
than I look.
Yeah. So you call it the American dream kind of, right?
Yeah.
And it doesn't mean that you have to come from somewhere else to live it. But, some people here too is I love sharing these stories of the entrepreneurial spirit. Someone that says, I'm going to leave something else behind and start something new is not easy,
Yeah.
And I hope that there's people that listen to this podcast, and with all these different professionals coming on, it really, something resonates with them, and they may hear the same thing over and over again, but sometimes it's something that you say specifically that gets them excited to start their journey. But what, if you could offer some advice on, that must have been difficult to make a big career change and to set out, and it requires a lot of resilience and belief in yourself. What advice would you have for people out there that are just getting started in business and maybe thinking of a change?
Yeah. I forget the exact quote, but there's particularly for women, oh gosh, I'm gonna mess up the quote, but it's something like, there's a man who's absolutely mediocre doing the job that you should be doing, right? Like, you know, like sometimes that's not perfect. I forget exactly how it is, but when I read that one time, I was like, oh, that really resonates with me. I'm waiting to be perfect. And no offense to our male counterparts, but they just go and do it, right? And they're not so great, but they have the confidence to just go for it. So, you know, I think that I've always been very intuition led, you know, before COVID and kind of before the technology wave really kind of changed a lot of casting. I was like, something is in the wind and I need to pivot and figure out the next chapter for myself. And I think that there's never any failures. It's all about growing as we kind of on this wonderful roller coaster called life. We've only got one go around on it, you know? True. And so you've got to take your shots and you really got to, you know, take some chances and most importantly, follow your intuition as the guide, you know?
Yeah. And there's this whole thing. And I love that you said that, because I think that perfection sometimes is what holds us back. It's the overthinking. And I was talking to someone the other day about LODI. I don't know if you ever heard the acronym, but it's the law of diminishing intent, right? And it's like, when you think about doing something, the longer that you take to actually do it, the less likely it is that you get it done. Right. So it's like, if you have an idea right now, today, or you're feeling inspired by something that you said or something else that you saw, go out there and just take action and do it. Don't wait too long, because then doubt starts to creep in and other people's opinions start to creep in and different things start taking priority in your life. And, you know, oh, it's not a good time now to start the magazine, or it's not a good time to change my career. It's like, you just have to kind of commit first and figure it out after to some extent.
Build a plane while it's in the air. You know, that's
love that.
what you've got to do sometimes, you know?
It's very true. Well, I'm so happy we had you here today. I'm excited to collaborate with, you know, between, you know, I think American Dream TV and Asbury Park City Lifestyle, we're focused on Asbury, the community here, the business owners here, helping them share their message and their story. And I look forward to collaborating together on how we can continue to support that.
Yeah, wonderful. Me too, Nicole. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And thank you guys for joining today. Please go check out Christine's site, visit her on social, support our local community, and comment below, like and share. We look forward to seeing you guys again. Thanks so much.